Hey bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. Got ourselves a specialized hard rock right here. These things are a favorite of the kids and the dads. I don't know, there's something about the branding, hard rock or something, but the dads sure seem to like them. Anyway, this one is a 13-inch frame. It's teeny, teeny, teeny. I think it was bought for a kid and then sat and hardly ever ridden, but it sat and it sat and it sat, and it is crunchy and filthy and gross and everything in between. I think that's the biggest problem with this one, is it's just absolute filth. I mean, just like it's caked on here. So we're gonna get out the Dawn Power Wash and clean most of that filth off, and then go through and lube everything, adjust it, and make this thing better than brand new. So kick back, relax, let's get started. You know, I probably should have done this a while ago, an hour or two ago, just to see if we lose any air. I don't suspect we will, but I'm gonna slowly add some air to these tires and just kind of see if they hold shape, if they're cracked, if they hold air, or if the valve stems are crooked. My old boss used to see these crooked valve stems and be like, remember what Monica Lewinsky said about Bill Clinton? You've got to straighten it out. And he said that to me, so I'd never ever forget the importance of a straight valve stem. And it's been like 25 years. What a strange man. Uh-oh, this tire is absolutely crunched out. It is shot, and I'm guessing the rear one is too then. And besides, the tires have to match. So we have a big decision to make. What kind of tires do we put on it? 13-inch frame means 11-year-old kid. That means we gotta put on knobby tires, because whoever's gonna get this bike is gonna get rad. You can only get rad if you have knobby tires. So I'm gonna go get some. All right, this is that classic Kenda tread pattern. It's got a nice center ridge, so as long as you keep them inflated, you're kind of rolling on the center ridge, and then super knobby on the sides. It's going to give this bike a nice aggressive look, but also be really practical for a kid who is likely just going to be riding to school and back. Yeah. Still going to put the air in the tire. Give this thing some shape and see if it holds. Then we'll disconnect the rear brake. So per the usual, we can pop these wheels off and set them aside. Oh, dropped a rear derailleur guard, which I will be putting back on this bike because the kids like to lay them down, and then it pushes the derailleur in, bends the hanger, overshifts into hopefully the spoke protector dork disc that I love so much. Or if that thing is missing or old and cracked and whatever, it just shatters and then rips all the spokes off the right side of the wheel. But it doesn't ever really rip the spokes off, but it damages them all and weakens the wheel and isn't good. So we're gonna put this on so none of that happens. And this front wheel is on so crooked, makes me wonder about you dads. This is one of my all-time favorite tricks. Hold the derailleur out, pop that piece of housing out. Boom, you've got access. Makes it really easy to pop out from there, and then you've got access to that whole rear derailleur cable. Now with the front derailleur, if you have your shifter in the most relaxed position, kind of put your chain up on a middle chain ring or something, you can pull that front derailleur out, and that gives you enough slack to disconnect the front derailleur too. So now you have access to that one. Rear brake is already disconnected, so we get that cable out of its happy homes. The cable stops. Front brake cable is always a kind of a closed system, but we can get a little bit of access right through there. But now with all of those cables not in their happy homes on the frame, we have pretty good access to everything. Sorry about the audio there. I just figured out that I didn't have my plug-in all the way. So those of you wearing headphones, that must suck. Anyway, here's the filth. We're gonna clean all that. And then as far as the frame filth, it's all on the left side of the bike. So wherever this was stored, probably leaned up against something and it kept it one side clean, and then all the filth stuck to this side. All right, now we're gonna take some Dawn Power Wash and apply liberally. I'm very sorry to use the L word. I know that's gonna trigger a bunch of you to unsubscribe from the channel and slay me in the comments, especially after I said the C word, Clinton. But if we just really kind of just spray it all over and then wipe it off, that gets the bulk of the filth off of the bicycle. Yeah, I mean, this is like a moderately clean rag, moderately dirty, mid filth, and I really, it really got things to the point where it's like shiny and new looking. But a lot of times there's just like, so what we just did kind of leaves a filth. If you take a brand new clean rag, or not a filth, a film, a filthy film. But if you take a clean rag and just wipe it off, it's almost like a buffing compound or a waxy, wax on, wax off situation. I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. So we'll lube this rear loop, is my favorite part to lube on the bike. So we get that just back in its happy home. So it just takes a little bottle of Tri-Flow here, and I'm just putting a couple drops on each one of these cables. And frankly, they don't need it. None of them need it. These are stainless cables, and while the bike was filthy, I don't think it ever really got too damp wherever it was stored. So it's a garaged bike. Get everything plugged back in here. Take a nice relaxing break here on Woody Charleston. Tube, well, both tubes seem to be holding air. So we got that going for us. Here's that same cleaning rag and that same bottle of power wash. Just kind of douse it here. So those of you that are kind of newer to the channel and haven't watched them all, or at least the more recent ones, it is November 9th or something like that, 2024, just after the election. And this right here is a truing stand, but it's known as the rant stand, dubbed by one of the viewers, and I'm not sure who. They'll probably comment after seeing this and say, it was me, I dubbed it the rant stand. And I should give them credit, public credit, because it's a great name, because this is where I tend to just like say what's on my mind. Sometimes, not on all videos, but on most videos. I don't know, I got enough positive feedback on previous rants that I thought it would be a good idea to make entire videos that were rant. Actually, it was my wife's idea to make entire videos that were rants. And so I did. I made one that was, you know, should I quit the bike shop because YouTube's going so well? And it's actually a very popular video. It's interesting. It got a ton of views, didn't make a lot of money. I don't really understand how it works. But anyway, my dumb ass slipped down the I think they call it the engagement rabbit hole, where I engage with my viewers too much and it skews perception of reality and creates a feedback loop that can be detrimental to the channel and the channel's success. Because if you start saying what's on your mind too much, people will think that the channel's no longer about bicycles, and then it's become topical. Most notably, the topic, now brace yourselves, the topic of politics. So since it was election season, my dumbass figured why not make a video all about the election, pre-election. So I did. And, you know, I think the jury's still out on whether it really hurt me or really helped me. And then we had the election, and it was not a smooth process the last year and a half of this election. Things got nasty. So no matter how the election turned out, there was going to be happy people and sad people. It doesn't matter which one I am. But I thought, well, since the first one, I mean, I lost a bunch of subs and, you know, but it seemed like most of the subs that I lost, these were people that we don't really want around here anyway. They were just really nasty and toxic and just easily triggered and, you know, that type. And so I was like, good riddance. And I thought that might be a good thing for the channel. And besides, like, the support I got was overwhelming, and financially I came out way ahead on that video. So after the election, I'm like, I'll do one more, and I'm gonna warn everybody not to watch it if you don't want, you know, that kind of content. You know, that's not the kind of channel this is. Well, a lot of people did not heed the warning, and my subscriber count has plummeted. Now, the actual number of subscribers that I've lost isn't that big. It's like less than 1%, right? However, what it did is slow down new subscribers for like a good couple of weeks now, like to a halt. And so I'm probably down 3,000 subs or something like that, let's say, had I not made these videos. I don't know what that means in the long term, but I'm spending a lot of time thinking right now that it was a bad idea. So it's not a rant. You know, I guess what I'm saying here is I'm just explaining myself that, you know, I'm trying out a couple new things here, taking some risks. That's what we do as entrepreneurs. This is a business. I am here to make money. I also really want to be as authentic as possible. I don't want to mislead people. I don't want you thinking I'm one thing and then finding out I'm another. And I feel like that happened here. But it was like, I don't know. I feel like that's because I've been like holding it in or hiding who I really am or whatever. But I guess there's a reason why we don't talk about religion and we don't talk about politics and certain things, is because it can become very emotional for some people. Passions run high, you know, and I definitely got wrapped up in it. And then you have the engagement rabbit hole, which somebody in the comments was like, you gotta be careful of that, it's a thing. And I'd never heard of it before. And I'm like, ooh, I'm in it. This one's good. So all that to say is not only that second video, and then I made a post in the community section, and I've just got so many comments that were so helpful for me to understand and wrap my brain around where we're at right now in America in general, both sides. Or it's not both sides, there's not two sides. That's what I've learned, there's definitely not two sides. It's like, there's a lot of smart people, a lot of people in information silos, a lot of different opinions, and a lot of them are very valid. Now there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation, and I think, you know, brainwash people on all over the place. It's all over the map. I just got so much perspective, and it was like, I feel like I'm way more knowledgeable now than I was before. So like, personally, I gained a lot from the experiment, and I'm grateful for that. You know, but I guess maybe a bike channel isn't the best place to run a social experiment. I should know better, right? But I don't. I don't know better. A lot of what I read gives me a lot of hope that maybe if there's doom and gloom, maybe it's not so doomy and gloomy, or if there's really good things to come out of it, it's probably not all that good. You know, like, who knows? I guess is kind of like what's real and what's not. It's very confusing. But the other lesson I've learned is that the more you know, the more you understand that you don't know shit. You know, it's like the more you know you don't know. It's a weird paradox. And, you know, I'm definitely in that mindset right now. There's a lot going on. Thinking about YouTube a lot. So when I saw this here little hard rock, I was like, well, that's a nice little bike for a kid. Let's just fix a bike. And then, you know, become vulnerable on the rant stand. So if you want to help me feel a little bit better, the super thanks really do help. I'm really sorry if I said things that were inflammatory and upset some of you. You know, I am sorry. You know, I think a lot of it was said before I knew what I know now, and I could take some of it back. I'm not gonna play that game. It's not a political channel. We're not gonna do that. I guarantee you, I learned a lot. I'm not sure if I learned my lesson. I'm not gonna claim that I know what's up anymore, but man, I hope I get things. I hope that the channel continues to grow like it was growing before the election, and I made those 2 videos. And I'm really thinking I'm gonna take the second video down. So those of you watching this 3 years down the road, you know, that's why it's not there anymore. Hey guys, so I'm sitting here doing the edit right now, and I just wanted to interject here to say that literally like an hour after I filmed that, there was a comment that got really personal and brought my family into it, that it got really weird and made me feel really uncomfortable. And then right after that, we discovered that somebody had like tracked down one of my family members and was bothering them online. And so I'm just putting an end to all of it. I've deleted everything political or topical. It's just, it's beyond affecting the channel or making me feel uncomfortable about things. This has spilled into my family. It just seems unsafe. So that's why I'm bailing on the whole thing. So back to bikes. Huh? Let's just do bikes. It's kind of irrelevant anyway, you know, because it's like everything I said in it is so different now. I might post, I mean, if I do that, I'll post in the community section, because I gave people a heads up that I was considering it, and I'm just letting it play out, to be fair to everybody that's got something to say, because I did ask for comments, and people, you know, made comments, and, you know, I don't want to take that away. But if it's not serving me or anybody, or if I come to the conclusion that it's problematic and as a whole, why wouldn't I take it down, right? You know, I joke that I'm only in it for the money, and a big part of it is I really am only in it for the money, but I'm not. Like, this community and what I'm learning from it and the opportunities that it's given me is absolutely incredible. I think I'm gonna make a whole video about that. This one's done too. Let's put some tires on. All right, yeah, these are, I mean, they're Giant branded, but they're just the Kenda, I don't even know what's. Kenda cheapo tires is what I call them. Cheapo Kendas, 20 buckers. Probably more like 30 now. All right. I always like turning it back into a bicycle. Another thing I've been thinking about a lot is about how important bicycles are to my life and the whole thing. And that's gonna be a good video too coming up. Take a little tri-flow and just, I drop it on the bolt and then let it seep down in there. Squeezing these rear brakes, my first impression is they feel super squishy. So, okay, that's just kind of checking to see how pads are hitting. I'm gonna make sure that my rear wheel is in straight. I think on every bike I double check that, you know, because it doesn't make any sense if your wheel's in crooked. It doesn't make any sense to adjust your brakes. Okay, and I have my JIS number 2 screwdriver here. That's in the comments. It's better than a Phillips. JIS number 2 works way better on bikes. And I grabbed it because I have another one that I think might be JIS number 2, but this one just fits really good in these screw heads. I mean, it's perfect, like they were designed to mate. And just how kind of crusty everything is, and dirty and filthy and rusty, and I just have experience with these particular brakes. I know I want to get good purchase on these adjuster screws. Yeah, like it's already kind of slipping on this other side. But I'm gonna add a little brake tension just to combat that squishy feeling I'm feeling. So if we just add a little tension to both sides, and you don't need much apparently, it feels better. Now the other thing is it's a small bike. It's a really small bike, so it's gonna have a small rider, which is gonna have smaller hands. So leaving the brakes a little loose is nice because it allows little hands to modulate a little bit better. Always thinking about the end user. But this one, I'll show you. The lever squeezes all the way down to the bar. We don't want that. It's a little much. So just I don't know, what is that? 3-4 millimeters? Let's go 5 millimeters. Oh, baby. Yeah, that's the stuff. I'll show you how I adjusted. It's about like that. So it's not all the way down to the bars. And yeah, this the reach adjuster is already turned in. So nice little hands can grab onto that. That's a good rear brake, good and safe. All right, interesting camera angle here. Usually I zoom in on the brakes, but kind of wanted to give you the whole system, give you a little bit clearer idea of what I did on the rear, just in the front. All right, so we lube everything and kind of wiggle it just a little bit. So I just connect them and then I squeeze and just kind of see how things are going. Okay, so you see it's pulling more from the left side than the right. So the first thing I'm gonna check is the wheel end straight. So I'm pulling straight up on the axle and yep, it didn't move, okay? Now, nothing's rubbing, but it's not really super even or nothing either. You know, we wanna find that equilibrium. So we'll take the screwdriver and just add a little tension to this side. Okay, also, I hear a little bit of a squeak. So we're gonna drop some lube up here in the lever. I'm gonna do the other one too, just if one's going, the other one's going. All right, still making noises. Maybe it's the brake. Yeah, so I just dropped some lube right behind the linear springs and it made that, whatever I was hearing, seems to have gone away. Okay. So then, sometimes it's easier to relieve tension from one side than to add. There's like an equilibrium. There it is. Right? Looks like it to me at least. It's funny because what I see when I'm doing the bike and then what I see when I'm doing the edits on these videos can be totally different sometimes. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so the rear or the front brake is tighter than the rear and I left a little play in my barrel adjuster so I could squeeze it. I'm just gonna add a little tension to the rear, pull some of it out and then get them nice and even. Put back what I just did. That's brakes. Let's move on to the drivetrain. So a lot of times I use one step for this. I just went straight for the tri-flow here. You know, tri-flow can clean and lube at the same time as well. One step is actually designed as a cleaner lube. Tri-flow is just slightly thicker. So this is a dirtier rag than my original cleaning rag. Slightly more filth. And this is how I clean the chain. Now the main concern with this chain is just that it's got dust and stuff on it. So we're just kind of wiping it a little bit. In my world, that's a clean chain because you take this, You ride out to the railroad trestle with your fishing pole 2 times on that glacial drumlin trail with the crushed limestone. That's what the kids do with their bikes around here. And that chain is filthy anyway, so we don't go nuts on cleaning drivetrains around here. We just get them lubed and working good, make sure things are good enough for who they're for. Oh man, these bikes from this era, I tell you what, just can't go wrong. Got a slight little front derailleur adjustment. It's slow to drop down, so there's 2 screws on the derailleur. One says high, one says low. That's the low limit, and it limits how much the derailleur can relax and push that chain down to the low gear. I just turned it out a little bit, and yeah, I mean, it was like a quarter turn. It made all the difference in the world. These are the fine-tuning things that just come from fixing a million bikes, you know? Like, this is just a little slow, so I added a little tension. I don't even know how to explain a lot of this stuff. Okay, so this cable is loose. And we've got a barrel adjuster here on the rear derailleur. We're gonna turn that out. And that lengthens this piece of housing, which adds tension to the cable. 1 click, 2 click, 3 click. Make sure that it's just nice and crisp going both ways. And I can just kind of go chaotic. Beautiful. So a lot of people really like gel saddles, right? I don't know what was resting on top of this one, but it was resting for a long time. It's got these bumps, it's just ugly. I'm not a big fan of gel saddles, especially with the nylon covers, so I'm gonna swap that out. And a lot of kids see this hole and they think it's funny, and it makes for a hard sale. So it's dumb, but it's true. You know, they're like, oh, it's like a vagina, or that's where your testicles go. I found this saddle in my bin, which is just a basic run-of-the-mill saddle, nothing special at all, made by Viscount, but it's got a little giant badge on there. I don't care about that, and if I did, I could just take some goof off and wipe that right off. Here's the goof off. If I did care, which I don't, I would do this. None the wiser. Beautiful. Now this is kind of a weird stem setup. It's actually a quill stem headset, and then it's got this extender that allows for a threadless stem, and then it looks like it's even adjustable. It's a really weird one. I don't think I've ever seen this before. If I grab my BFW here and open her up and just lock that lock nut down. Now, a good bicycle mechanic, one that actually knows what they're doing and, you know, cares so deeply about getting everything just exactly right, would never do that. They would get, you know, proper whatever. But I'm just gonna lock that lock nut down and I won't have to ever worry about it again. And that, my friends, is a completed bicycle. Restored, ready to go. I think that if I wasn't filming, I would have been able to do all of that in about 45 minutes. I don't remember how I got this bike. Was it a trade-in? I can't imagine that I paid much more than $100 for it. So let's just say I got $100 in the bike and maybe $30 in these tires, and then 45 minutes worth of work, and I will get $349, maybe $399. It kind of depends. I don't know what the market's gonna be like next year. In the spring, it could be totally different. The bike industry is already kind of messed up, and everybody's kind of freaking out about the tariffs and what that's going to do, because we already had to deal with that, 4 years ago or 6 years ago or whenever that was. And everything just kind of skyrocketed, and now it's going to skyrocket again. And everybody says that new bikes are too expensive anyway, so I think the used bike market might be great, which I'm really hoping, because by the end of this winter, I'm gonna have a lot of them. Hopefully the tariffs are all one big giant joke and it doesn't happen, because I don't know how. Anyway, see, I'm getting into it again. Doesn't really matter for me because I'm primarily used bikes at this point anyway. This is a really popular size because a lot of kids will grow out of their 24-inch bike, and this is just slightly bigger. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Some parents keep their kids on bikes for too long, right? And they can almost skip over the 24-inch bike, but they don't have the experience to ride a full-size bike yet. So then these bikes come into play because it's a small frame but bigger wheels, and it's like their first adult bike, but it's a really small frame and it's easier to handle. So I'll put them on this for a couple of years and then trade up for, you know, a full-size bike for them. It's an interesting niche in the sizing of bikes for kids. And this one's a really good one. Like I said, I don't think it was ever ridden. I think Grandma and Grandpa bought it and parked it in their garage, and it sat and sat and sat. And now I've got it. It's got brand new tires and it's good to go for another 20 years. Thanks again for watching until the end. That's the number one most gratifying part of doing this, is knowing that making content that engages people for so long. Most people aren't lucky enough to have a niche that allows them to do that. I am, and it's from viewers like you, so thank you so much. Be sure to like this video and subscribe, especially if you're watching it when it's new, because things are not looking good in my analytics department right now. If you've never sent a super thanks, now's a good time to do it. I could really use the help. I think it's gonna be interesting climbing out of the hole I put myself in, possibly. I'm not even sure if it's really a hole, but it all triggers the algorithm. There's YouTube memberships. You can do that right here. Click the join button. That's a monthly sustaining membership. And then, let's see here, what else? Oh yeah, share. So you can share these videos to your online groups that you're in, any of them, and be like, hey, check out this, you know, this is like interesting stuff, you know, Facebook groups, or if you've got a channel of your own, click the share button, send it far and wide. Let folks know about the Bike Farmer, and for yourself, click that notification bell so you and your bikes can stay tuned.